Okay.
And we're off.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Questionable Album Club, the podcast where this beautiful panel of music fans we attempt to blow the dust off some of rock's curios, failures, and generally perceived missteps on the panel today. Wearing a lovely fetching hat. Have you waxed your facial hair, Steenie? It's Andrew Steen. Steenie, hello, Steenie.
Hello, no, I haven't waxed my facial hair, but no, I'm just may have given it a trim last week.
Were you tempted to talk about your pubic hair then?
No, I'm never tempted to talk about
It's a
that.
bit
I
early for
think
that.
you went and got some Elvis products after last.
I did, yeah. I was inspired by the king.
We've got Marcus Kingwell. Hello, Marcus. Marcus, you're on mute, mate.
No, I'm not. I'm not on mute. I'm just here.
Oh, I see. We've got Ross. Hello, Ross.
Good evening. I've never waxed anything.
Apart from your age, mate. And Steve Gibson. Hello, Steve.
Good evening.
My name is Seb Hunter, and tonight's album is it was my choice, and it is Rick Wakeman's debut solo album from 1973, the Six Wives of Henry VIII. And the reason I chose it, this is we always explain. Oh, hang on, I haven't done my top 10. I haven't done my top 10, Steve, yet. I'm trying to be a good boy and do what I'm told. So just before I explain why I chose Rick Wakeman's top 10, and somewhat radically, I've digitalized top 10, because usually I used to be, everything was on paper. I'm very analog. It's all pencil and paper and mess and crossings out and rungs out. But I thought it would be much easier if I digitized the thing. So I took about 6 hours putting it all down on here. So you can see our top 10. So I'll just do a quick chart random. Is that backwards to Fred?
No, well, it looks good to me.
It's backwards to me because, of course, I'm looking at it. So, yeah, number one, I'll go top from 10 down. Number 10, I'm actually having to read this. It's backwards. It's like a mirror image for me. This is a nightmare. Oh, fuck.
Get yourself a mirror.
Can someone else read this, please? Because it's all backwards to me.
Go on, Ross, you do it.
Okay, in at number 10, it's Lou Reed's Metal Machine Music. Number 9, Joni Mitchell, Dog Eat Dog. Number 8, Motorhead, The Manticore Tapes. Number 7, Grinder Man 2 by Grinder Man. Number 6, Slayer, God Hates Us All. Number 5, Van Halen 3. Number 4, Rolling Stones, Their Satanic Majesty's Request. Number 3, Yes and Drama. Number 2, it's The Doors and The Soft Parade. And at number 1, and God knows how, it's The Happy Mondays, Yes Please.
Thanks, Ross. That was very helpful, mate. And just because you can see the scores by the sides of these, right? So our highest scoring album of all time has got 66 out of 100, which is 6.6 out of 10. So it's a low bar, everybody. It's a low bar. So I didn't really help with my choice this week because the reason I chose this because Rick Wakeman. I don't know any of his solo stuff. Rick Wakeman obviously is a synthesizer player. He's got a very long career, long blonde hair, bit of a London Cockney bloke, drinks a lot. Was in Yes, was in the Strawbs, and has played on so many albums. Does the Gliss on, Get It On. I mean, to me, he's more of a raconteur than a musician these days. You know, he's still standing, and I was always aware of these. He made these solo albums while he was a member of Yes or after he was kicked out, like the Six Wives of King Henry VIII, the Journey to the Centre of the Earth, King Arthur one, and I've never heard them because they always just seem so sort of preposterous and risible and just sort of slightly sort of synth epic-y things. And so I just thought he's a big name. Prog's always quite funny. A concept album about an instrumental synth-based prog album about the Six Wives of Henry VIII. It just seemed to me in our sort of area. So, and I'd never heard any Rick Wakeman solo stuff. So I just thought it was kind of suitable for us. So that's it for me. My own history with Yes, I like a bit of Yes. I don't love them, but when we did the Yes, we have actually done a bit of Yes. We've done a Yes album on this before, haven't we? That was Drama. That's our third best ever album. So I suppose this is Yes related. It's still quite highly last time. The Buggles Yes album. So just going around the table, Ross, we're going to start with you. Where are you with Rick Wakeman? What's your Wakeman section in your CD?
Well, he seems like a sort of bloke you might want to go for a drink with, doesn't he? I'm afraid I'll have to sort of like fall back on the sort of like the Spinal Tap line here of we're all a fan of music, maybe not yours in particular. I mean, I know nothing up until these last 2 weeks. I knew nothing about Yes or Rick Wakeman other than I was aware of him as a thing. I wasn't saying I know nothing about prog, but actually thinking about it, I have seen a few prog bands live, but at the very sort of the very accessible end of things, which I fear that if I mention names, people will be going, "That's not prog."
Just get on
so
with it, Ross. Say who they are, for fuck's sake.
Okay,
Say
I've
who
seen
they are.
Floyd a few times.
Prog?
I've seen Nick Mason. Nick Mason's been touring the early. I saw him play there. I've seen Marillion a couple of times. Once good, once awful. I've seen Jethro Tull once, and I've seen Genesis once, but that was really past the point where you consider them a prog band. So
I
think
wish I
I've seen.
asked now. You've made me all depressed now, Ross.
Yeah. Beyond that, I spent the last couple of weeks on a real sort of prog odyssey, or a sort of a progacy, or whatever it was, to try and fill this in. And I don't know, the sort of stereotype of prog, which has always put me off. It's it's too long, it's too showy offy. It's just an exercise in virtuosity. I think a lot of the time it rang true these last couple of weeks. I mean, there were some exceptions. I listened to some King Crimson really for the first time, and I really like that. Although some of their tracks could do with a bit of shortening here and there as well. But a lot of it was like it was too much of a good thing, in that there was some stuff which I really liked, and then 8-9 minutes later I was just pulling my hair out, as it's still going on. I listen to this stuff when I'm running, and I think, right, I'll go out for a run, I'm gonna whip through a few songs, get through an album or so, and this God, I'm in like track 2 and I'm nearly home.
You must be going for some long runs, Ross.
Exactly, chasing the topographical ocean. Before this week, I might really sort of no, I didn't know. Yes, I didn't know Wakeman, and it's been a bit of an experience.
Good for you, Ross. So as usual, amazing research of Up and Beyond. You've listened to all prog rock week.
Yes,
including
Harmonium. I came across this.
Oh, Harmonium, they're German. They're kind of krautrock, really. I wouldn't class them as prog. They're kind of krautrock super band. Anyway, Steve.
I'm just amazed at the amount of prog gigs Ross has been to after saying.
No, I'm going to have to edit that out.
Just reeled off on them. Mate, Wakeman, love to have a beer with him. You got to listen to him when he comes on. All the rest of it, yes, fan, etc., etc., etc. This album, I had this album. I bought it back in the days when I was buying a lot of vinyl when I was growing up, second hand for like 10 pence or something. And I don't remember it. I remember listening to it and then getting rid of it again because it was so out of fashion in the 80s. It was just so out of fashion, and he was out of fashion, to be fair. So it's interesting to hear it again. To be honest with you, I slightly disagree with. Well, I can see where it comes from. You say he's more of a raconteur because he's a beautiful player. He really is a really, really beautiful piano player, and there's evidence. There's a lot of evidence of that on this album. I'll probably talk about the album when we go around again, because I've not, I've talked about my prog background on here enough, really. Everyone knows
you
it.
had the album, you sold it.
Yeah. And it was nice. So I think what put me off rather at the time was exactly what you said. It's just preposterous. And then it was all that stuff on ice and all the rest of it. You just think, what is going on?
Exactly. the on ice stuff.
Yeah. I'll sort of hold my fire a bit because there's a lot. I think I've got a bit more to say about the actual music on this album than normal. So
interesting. Okay. Marcus, you strike me as a natural kind of Rick Wakeman fan.
Very kind of you to say that, but actually completely 100% wrong. You might remember when we did the votes for the Buggles Yes album, it might have been my lowest score. I really hated that album.
Marcus, can I just say I was being facetious? I know you hate prog rock, so it's
very good. You said it's very deadpan. It's very good, Seb. Yeah, you've been real in there. Yeah, I've got no time for prog at all. It really is everything which is wrong about, I don't know, way rock music goes for me. Prog rock sums it all up, and it also has this other image problem around it. It's the kind of undergraduate chemistry student thing, which just really, it's just so nerdy and really makes my skin crawl. So this is why I used a little swear word when you said when you picked this song last week, Seb. I was thought you'd done this just to taunt me, but that was me being very vain, because this show isn't really about me at all. It's about music. So I don't know. I don't like prog one bit.
Very generous of you, Marcus.
And it was with trepidation that I pressed play on this particular album.
Dot. Steenie.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
No. My familiarity with Rick Wakeman is, I think, initially was probably by accident, having heard him but not realised it was him on a few ubiquitous sort of songs that you heard as a kid, um, around and about, and because he was such a big name as a session player as well as being in Yes and Strawbs and everything. But yeah, I think, like you say, to the majority of people, and to me early on, I think it was more of his personality and the fact that he was always on these programs as a talking head. I remember 1974 and all those sort of shows, and his grumpy old man thing that he did. And in some ways, he reminds me quite a lot of my dad. And it's that generation of it's sort of blokes born in the 1940s who um, have a very similar sense of humor, and it's all about beers and laughs. And then the music, like, despite the fact that he's clearly a brilliant musician, he sort of just treats it with this sort of light-hearted kind of. I mean, he obviously takes himself seriously in some ways, but it's to him, it's just another thing he does. And there's something quite good about it, but there's something quite infuriating about it as well with him. And so it's that kind of he's a completely different generation to me. And when I was a kid, and an angry young rocker, and I thought prog rock was the biggest load of nonsense. I thought it was absolutely dire, and I hated it, and I would have said I despise Yes, and and there's loads of other bands I would have. And then actually I listened to it and realized, oh, actually loads of the stuff I like is really heavily influenced by this. You can hear it all over the shop. And while I was poo-pooing, the idea of listening to Yes or King Crimson or any of the other bands, I was quite happy to sit and listen to 40 minutes of Rime with the Ancient Mariner by Iron Maiden. So I was obviously like just lying to myself, just deluded. So yeah, later on I did get into prog, and yeah, I'm a Yes fan. But as for this album, this is one of those ones that you see at the boot sales, and you see in every second-hand shop. And it's in some ways it's a little outlier on this particular show, because I think a lot of his fans see this as a high point in his output. And it's apparently, according to Wikipedia, 15 million copies worldwide.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
15 million. I mean, that's insane.
Did you read the story about when they had the playback at the record company offices?
Yeah.
And he was sitting there and played to him, and they said, "Yeah, it's great. Can't wait for the vocals to be out."
Yeah. And then they said something like, "Oh, we'll press up like 20,000 copies of it or something and see if anyone buys it." And I mean, 15 million sounds like a number they plucked out of thin air, but considering the fact that it does turn up at every single car boot sale and every charity shop, you always see this record. And for that reason, I've never actually bought it, bizarrely. So it was nice to be able to actually have an excuse to put it on, and then we'll find out, I guess, in due course,
Okay.
whether I'll be buying the next one I see for 15 pence at the.
You mean you haven't bought one already? You haven't
I've
seen
never
one
bought it. It's one of those ones that
even since you haven't seen one since we called this album on the last.
No, and weirdly enough, I have been to a couple of second-hand record shops in the time, and for the last one as well, for the Elvis one, I was actually actively looking out, thinking that's the kind of one that's going to turn up at a charity shop. But I never saw it, so thwarted both times.
Okay, this is very well. This is nicely queued up, guys. This is nicely queued up. So, my big issue with this is that you assume, okay, that I'm sure other people had noticed this, right? We're going to say it. I'm sorry to spoil anyone's thunder, but what really pissed me off about this was that they're not in the order of it goes Catherine, because you know what I mean, right? It should go Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard, Catherine Parr, right? Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. The rhyme that we all know. But it goes. It's weird. It goes Catherine of Aragon, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard. It's all gone a bit of history, isn't it? Jane Seymour, Anne Boleyn, Catherine Parr. So it starts and finishes correctly. which kind of just made me. I mean, so many people must have mentioned this, and I'm guessing that this must be a question he's asked a lot, and it just really kind of bugged me. But I think I know the answer. I think we'll talk about it. But
I know the answer.
Go on.
He gets around all of it because he wrote this album because he just read a book on the wives at an airport, and then he just got a little slightly like nothing else to do on tour, so he wrote them, and then everyone started questioning it, and we'll get into the music more. But he's got round it all. It's like by just saying this is a deeply personal interpretation of everything. It's a bit like on Doctor Who. I heard this one of the Doctor Who writers saying that any little sort of when it came to time travel, it's such a wormhole that if there was an obvious plot black hole because of the time travel bit, that one of the assistant would say, "But Doctor, such and such will happen," and he'd say, "Have you not heard of the sort of the Johnson effect?" And she'd go, "What's that?" And then the Colonel or someone would burst and say, "Doctor, we need you." And
nice. That's good.
It's a bit of a Rick Wakeman. Just this is deeply personal. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Was the thing. My suggestion, what I thought was he's obviously just written them all down and got on with it, and then thought, "Oh fuck, it's not in the right order." But
Yeah, well, sonically it makes sense, right? I think it's a sequencing thing. I mean, because the first one and the last one are there, and I reckon it's the record company said we need Anne of Cleves to be number 2 because we'll talk about the music because Anne Boleyn is very similar to. Yeah. I can't believe we're talking about the track names, the names of the wives. Ross, what did you think? Having listened to 600 hours of prog, what did you think of this?
Well. Oh, before I start, as you notice, he's touring this at the moment.
Is he?
Yeah, this month. You can catch him in Bournemouth, would be your nearest one. Next month in October.
This is so
live from the foyer. We should have done this
the King Arthur. So we could do a Crestman Album Club trip on a minibus out to watch this.
I had no idea. That's so weird.
Yeah, I'm like Marcus, and I put this on with a great degree of trepidation. Particularly as it was obviously going to be a keyboard-based thing, because the one thing that really the one thing about prog that really annoys me is when the keyboard player in the band gets his prog organ sound out and does that. I'm going to show you how fast my fingers can move now, and it just seems to be everywhere when I'm hearing prog, and I'm like waiting for it to come in. So I'm thinking this just is going to be Rick Wakeman moving his fingers very fast, isn't it? And the thing is, I don't know why it annoys me so much, because it doesn't annoy me if someone's like playing Rachmaninoff or Alvin Lee's playing the guitar quickly or Coltrane's playing quickly. It's something about that prog sound that just annoys me. So we start off with
Catherine of Aragon.
Catherine of Aragon. Nice piano to begin with. I'm thinking, when's this going to come? And it finishes quite reasonable time. I mean, it's like less than 5 minutes. It's like a single. And I'm thinking, crikey, this is good. I like the backing vocals, and it was just, I thought this was really nice. There was a nice little motif in it, nice piano, and I really, I was thinking, right, I'm on board with this. Then Anna Cleves starts, and we get the fastest finger, and it's like, okay, I can put up with that. But then, the Catherine Howard sounded like a TV theme tune, and then after that, we just went all. Churchy one, fastest fingers, and in the end, the last one, Catherine Parr, just, I'm going to show you how fast my fingers can move for about 7 minutes. So I thought there was some nice stuff in it. It's just there was so much stuff that it just wore me down to the point that in the last track, I know it's probably only about 7 minutes, but it just seemed like half an hour, because it was just stuff plus more stuff plus more stuff. And there's another keyboard part and another piano part that it took away, I think, from my enjoyment of the stuff. Because in every single track, there was stuff I admired and stuff I liked. But by the end of most of the track, I'd really had enough, and just, and then the fingers would start moving quickly. I get that, it was going to be impossible for you to sit here and really say, oh, that must be Jane Seymour, that it was always going to be rather tenuous. But, why Catherine Howard deserved a honky-tonk piano in the middle of her thing, I don't know. Maybe she was a honky-tonk piano fan. So I would have liked some coherence, not between the tracks. I don't mind that. Some coherence within the tracks. I mean, yeah, you had was it Jane Seymour, the one that was obviously, done in a church. That sort of had some stuff, although there was a real whizzy organ part at one bit. And it was like, here's some more effects I found. And I would have liked him to have found his motif for this person and basically written a song around it, rather than find a motif and then do 7 other things on the track as itself. So I'm not cross about this, because there were parts I enjoyed. It just, in the end, it beat me into submission by the end of it.
I think I agree with you about the major key hoedown in Catherine Howard track, because she was beheaded, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? I kept thinking, this is really inappropriate. It's gone major key.
Yeah. Well, she would like this.
It's gone a bit Jules Holland.
This would have cheered her up on the way to the gallows.
Oh, maybe it's that. Maybe it's kind of, it's all right, love. It's all right. Very good. Steve.
Well, this.
I've got one word. I've got one word to say to you, Hal.
Yeah.
Bruford.
Bill Bruford
Plays on Anne of Cleves.
Yeah, he does play on Anne of Cleves.
And you love Bill Bruford.
I do love Bill Bruford, and Anne of Cleves I thought was my favourite track off the album. But my overall thing with this is the first time on this pod we've had someone who's some music. Someone's had some serious composition, and historically, great pieces of composed music have picked up nicknames because they emote and evoke a situation. Listening to this 2 or 3 times through, all I got was the 70s. All I got was I had a brother and sister who were like 15 years older, so all I got was their list. It just took me back to hearing their records from their bedrooms. I agree with Ross, Catherine Howard. I mean, I just thought that was the music it was incidental music for a 70s sitcom, or was I, if I closed my eyes, all I could think about was The Plank, that Eric Sykes thing. It's just pure 70s. He's used the Doctor Who. It's a deeply personal thing. I don't care what else thinks, but so I'm going to tell you. I have to tell him what I think. All I got was 70s. Now I didn't. The challenge would have been to have written an emotive pieces of music, in the framework of when it was written, but to emote those times without being really obviously using lutes and whatever, And it hasn't done that. Having said that, there's some beautiful piano playing on this, especially in Anne Boleyn, and I really enjoyed Anne of Cleves. I thought there was a really good groove, and Bruford once again never lets you down, does he? But,
Anne of Cleves is the kind of funky fusion one.
Yeah.
By far the most rockiest one.
Yeah.
Which is why it was track number 2, I presume.
I agree with you. I think that must be why they did it. But so that's where I'm with it. All I got was, remember, like, sitting in the kitchen hearing stuff like that out of my older brother's bedroom, and sort of Man About the House on in the background. That was totally that's all I got from this. It should have been the 7 bits of stuff for various MPs of the 70s, not Queen's. But anyway, that's what it left me with.
Okay, Marcus, you left us on a bit of a cliff edge there, mate, because you hate prog, you hate everything to do with prog, it's your enemy, etc., etc., etc. But
there is a but. I absolutely loved it. I dropped all my prejudices. My prejudices were like spelt out in front of me, that I was approaching this from a preconceived idea of be overplayed, it'll be over showy, it'll be annoying noises and sounds and all the rest of it. And there's sort of bits of that, but I thought, I'm not going to let that on. I'm just going to actually kind of settle into it. And I just thought it was fabulous. It hooked me right in from Catherine of Aragon, and the sound is just massive, isn't it? And then Anne of Cleves, when that gets going. In fact, Wikipedia says it's not Bill Bruford, that it's Alan White playing drums on Anne of Cleves. So I'll just throw that one out there.
They both play drums on the record, but I thought it was Bruford on Anne of.
I thought it was Bruford on Anne of Cleves, but
I've being nearly as much of a pedant as Seb is, I've actually called the page up on my phone right now, and I've double checked. It does say Alan White drums on Anne of Cleves. So there we go. Wikipedia is not 100% accurate, but that's what it says. But I just thought that was, from a minute and a half in, it's just fantastic. The funkiness of it, the grooviness, the way it motors along. It sounds like everyone's in the studio kind of facing each other properly, playing this song live. Maybe it was recorded live, I don't know. But I just think it's absolutely awesome piece of music. I never thought progressive rock could have any kind of coolness about it, but I was completely proved wrong by that track. And then as it went on, I continued to enjoy it. I like the boogie boogie piano in Catherine Howard. I thought that was really fun. I wasn't expecting it in this sort of thing. I loved all the big church organ sounds on Jane Seymour. Yeah, it was just awesome sounding, and the production is brilliant. Every instrument is really clear, despite there being loads of stuff going on, and I like that from recordings. And I love his piano playing. I think I've been one of the things with Rick Wakeman, and I feel slightly sorry for him, is whenever there's a documentary on the telly about how punk rock changed the world and all that, they always cut back to, they say, music in the 70s was getting stuffy and overblown, and they cut to this shot of Rick Wakeman in a cloak with all these synths doing this, and you're so kind of built up to it in that punk is cool and prog was uncool, and then you see this image and you go, yes, it was uncool. And actually, he's just a fantastic pianist, a fantastic composer, and here it all is. So, despite the preposterous concept, title, and all the rest of it, it completely works for me. The other thing I'll put in its favour, it's 36 minutes long, so it's very digestible. It does not feel, you just kind of, if it was one more track, I might have started to lose attention. But 36 minutes, I wouldn't say I'm hungry for more, but I've just had my fill in a good way. So
you've had your wives.
I've had my wives. I'm done. I'm dusted.
You've had 6 courses. There was meant to be another track. He wanted to add another track, which was the King Henry track. He wanted to add a kind of the Henry track, so Henry and the Wives, but the record company said, "Oh no, there's not enough room. No, that's fine. Enough."
Apparently, it does exist.
No, he wanted to do it.
Yeah, and he played it when they did Hampton Court Palace a few years ago. He did the whole thing, extended versions of everything with the Henry VIII track. Apparently, it's okay. You can watch it on YouTube, the whole performance. We haven't gone that deep on the research, but
Marcus, it's funny what you said, because I had the same sort of preconception. It was like, it's kind of, is this going to be, what side of good and bad taste is this going to be? I assumed it would be bad taste.
Yeah,
but for me, all the way through, it changes so much. It never gets boring. There's always something different happening after a couple of bars, and it's always good things happening. I completely agree with you. The major key hoedown thing, it's fun and it puts a smile on your face. I thought the whole thing was utterly wonderful from beginning to end. Steve, I agree. It sounded like the 70s, but it sounded like, what's wrong with that, man? 70s. It's just like
the fair thing was. My point was, as he evoked what he set out to do.
But things are they always have to reflect. They don't have to. They often will reflect the time in which they're put together.
As I said, the skill would have been to, in the time frame when it was recorded, to evoke those wives, but it didn't do that for me.
Well, that's a pretty big.
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the music. Yeah. I'm just saying I did, and he's got out of it by saying this is deeply personal.
Totally, but Steve, what you were saying about composition, what I love about this, what I loved about it, still love about it, and I was blown away by it. This is by far the favorite thing we've had on the pod the whole time we were doing. I love it. Is that the constant changes. Obviously, he's thinking, "Oh God, shit! Don't want to get bored. Don't want to be proggy and overlong and overblown." He's always moving. It's always moving. And then amazing sounds come in, and then something else comes in, and then it drops, and then this comes in, and there's no time to have a composition. It's just fucking moving.
He's composed it. He's composed
I know. But insofar as a composition, I mean, he went on to do obviously much more structured and kind of like, A, B, B, all this sort of stuff. But what I love about this is just it's kind of restlessness,
And I think actually this is an interesting point, because Ross picked up on something which normally I would agree with you, Ross, in terms of you're looking for a musical, something to anchor it throughout the entire song or track or whatever, and it doesn't happen. But I was able to sort of forgive that and accept that quite early on. And it's just within a title, and to pick any of these titles, there's 6 or 7 ideas which only slightly relate to another, sort of an evolution or whatever. And that's fine. It's not meant to be pop music. It's not meant to be rooted around a single idea or a riff or a chorus that you sing along with. It's a different thing. And I'm up for it. I think it's great.
Steenie, having seen this album in charity shops for years and years and years, having finally listened to it, what did you think?
Well, yeah, I'm. There's not a lot that's been said that that I'm thinking that hasn't already been said in some way or other. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna I'm gonna set my stall up pretty early on and say, yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of those things where it obviously, as has been said, it is the flimsiest of premises. He's written, he's got 6 pieces of music, and he's been tapping his pencil, and he's going like, "Oh man, six. Oh, it'd been better if I'd written 7 because I know but 6. Oh, Henry VIII, and oh right, yeah, that book I read that time in the airport, and it's that kind of thing, and it does remind me a little bit of, I don't know if you've ever seen a sketch of Matt Berry on the Snuffbox series that he did, where he plays like a musician on the spoof of the Old Grey Whistle Test, and he's being interviewed. He's got his piano in front of him, and so this song is it's called The Empty Room. It's part of a 4-part suite I wrote after the death of my brother from suicide. Very sad number. He starts playing this really gentle bit. After about like 30 seconds, just stands up. He's got this massive silver cloak on, gets this huge synth on a strap. He's like, and then the band just start rocking. And it's like no thematic. There's no relation to his brother's suicide at all. It's just he's written this song and he's hanging it on this peg. And this is it's the prog conceit. It's music, and you can just say whatever inspired it. It doesn't matter. And once you get over that hurdle, which is a massive hurdle, when it comes down to this particular subject, because I think the only thing that came close to what I was expecting to hear was probably is it Jane Seymour, which is the one recorded on the church organ in London, St Giles without Cripplegate, apparently. And then he said he didn't really like that and started dubbing loads of Moog over it. And then when you listen to that, it's quite good, because I think he realised that he was actually stepping into what could be sort of pastiche, and I think he did quite well to avoid going down this sort of period, getting the lutes out, as you said before, and stuck a load of Moog over it instead. And you end up like hearing where Don Airey nicked the intro for Mr. Crowley from, because there's bits in like the chord suspensions when there's Moog starts sweeping. You're like, hang on a minute, Ozzy's going to start singing. But what I liked as well is I've learned more about the bloody 6 Wives of Henry VIII from researching, desperately trying to find something in these songs to hook into what he was being inspired by. I started biographically researching each of them.
Good man. That's what we need.
And I know I kind of went the sort of historical route, and Ross went down the prog route, and I went down the historical route.
I'm just going to get my timer out, mate. I'm going to give you 3 minutes on this, mate.
3 minutes. 3 minutes is probably more than enough, to be honest. But Catherine of Aragon, not very much in the terms of historical, in terms of the history there.
Right, that's not fair, is it? Really so that's cruel. Sorry, I stopped that.
Yeah, I really loved the gospel section in that bit where it comes. And the first time I heard it, I thought this is kind of a bit corny and a bit out of keeping with the the historical air of it. But then I sort of thought, well, actually, she was famously quite pious, and this might be his way to sort of bring a bit of religious music into it while keeping it a bit cool. Obviously, later on with the Anne Boleyn one, he busts in that hymn, doesn't he?
It's the same motif in Anne Boleyn. That's another reason why I think Anne Boleyn wasn't appropriate for the second song. Also, Steve, you ever heard the River Song by Dennis Wilson?
Yeah, it sounded exactly. Well, it was at my wedding.
Same thing,
I had that song at my wedding.
It's the same thing, right?
It is. It's a very similar piece of music. That's what it reminded me of, which is why I took to it, because I walked down the aisle to that, and it in a sort of wives of Steenie, the one wife of Steenie, kind of
So
thing.
far, so far.
I don't say
Yeah.
that. I'm not planning any executions soon. She's just in the other room. She can hear what I'm saying.
Honest.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I like the fact that that is basically a Yes song as well. Backstory for that. He'd written it for Yes. He'd written a demo of it, and it was originally called Handle with Care. Something like Handle with Care for the Joe Loss Orchestra. He labeled it so it wouldn't get stolen as an unreleased Yes track by overly keen bootleggers, which is the sort of febrile atmosphere that we were in at the time. And that's how much prog was in demand back then. People might break into the vaults and steal Rick Wakeman's unreleased demos. And then you've got like Anne of Cleves, which, as Marcus says, live feel to it. Apparently was just banged out one take in the studio with Alan White and Dave Winter, who was later of the Wurzels, on bass. So that's pretty, and I think that is really fun. And there is something historical I tagged into that, because weirdly, that is the longest track on the album for the wife with the shortest period married to Henry. She only did 6 months, and then he got short of her without consummating the marriage. So there's a bit of historical detail. And
Steve, can you
also,
cut
it's
that
got
out?
that mad
It's really
false ending,
boring.
and then it kicks back in again.
Nothing. Sorry.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, it's got that false ending as well, which has got that kind of it breaks back in again. I guess that's possibly because everyone thinks she disappeared when Henry first. She outlived everyone. She was the longest lived, so maybe that's why it's the longest track. I'm heading into Giles Brandreth territory here, aren't I? With all this.
You just need some sort of picture on your jumper.
I have to. Yeah, it's a bit proggy, Rush.
Oh.
But yeah, there's loads of stuff in it that I really, really genuinely enjoyed. I've got all these notes that I made. You know, obviously the bit in Catherine Howard, maybe because she was such a fun-loving teenager when she was executed at the age of 18 or 19. That they had the bullseye theme in the middle of that weird the bit that everyone keeps picking up on. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no hint of the terrible end that she had there. But yeah, it's just you know, the for every thematic breakdown in it, where you think, well, this doesn't bear any relation to any of the subject matter, you think, well, does it matter? Does it? Who cares? You know, put it into the realm of the Doctor Who thing, or you know, personal. When Rick Wakeman shuts his eyes and listens to this, maybe he does go like.
It's like, I mean, it's like Holst's The Planets. Programmatic music is. I mean, you know, how do you? I mean, it's impossible to quantify, right?
That, is which one's the bringer of jollity? That one, I think that's a very jolly one in the planets. You can, and Mars, obviously, there's obvious thematic ones in that where you're like, yeah, I get where you're coming from.
It's been happening for hundreds of years. All classical music, so much
Yeah.
classical music, which is instrumental, is programmatic. So I mean, it's quite harsh to.
Because who's it? Who did the Trout? That one is that
Schubert.
Which is the theme tune to Waiting for God, that sitcom about the old people song. And you know, when I hear that piece of music, I don't think of a Trout. I do think of just some old people trying to break out of an old people song. So with hilarious results. But
this is we're quite highbrow today. We've got Schubert.
We've had Man About the House. We've had lots of stuff.
I did the Trout for Music O level. I remember.
Did you?
Yeah.
You look quite happy about that.
Did it make you think of Waiting for God as well?
Right, everyone, it's time for scores. So, Ross, if this album had been one of Henry's wives, would it have been divorced, died, beheaded, or survived?
It would probably be divorced. I'm gonna give it 33-0. It was okay, just a bit much.
But you haven't cut her head off.
No.
It's very woke of you, Ross. Steve?
Neither. Just let go for good behaviour. 66 for me, and Anne of Cleves, sorry, is the favourite track. Ross,
can I just say,
yes,
that's good. That's a very good point you just made there. Something I've completely failed to do at the beginning is that we have a very exciting new feature on this pod, which is that when we do scores, everyone's going to give their favourite tracks, and we are going to compile the favourite tracks into a playlist on Spotify, which is going to be attached to this on YouTube. So thank you, Steve. Good point there, mentioning it and me completely failing to. So thank you. Ross, can I go back to you, Ross? What was your favourite wife?
Catherine of Aragon.
Catherine of Aragon. Okay, I'm not making a note of these, but can someone just actually? I will make a note of them. Otherwise, no one else will. So hang on. So Catherine of Aragon. Steve, what was your favourite wife?
Anna Cleves.
Cleves. Marcus.
It's the flippant of this podcast I really enjoy. It just the way it kind of naturally flows from one thing to another.
Yeah, get on with it. Yeah, just go on.
I just need a number and a wife.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a number. I'm going to give it 85, my highest ever, and Anne of Cleves is my top song. Survived, I would say, but I'm not sure if she did in real life.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, there's 3 criteria. Steve, would you? No, fuck that.
Survived and thrived, I would say.
Very good. Steenie.
Yeah,
Steenie. I need 3 things, right? I need a number, a wife, and a favourite wife. No, and a died, survived, or beheaded, or whatever.
Right. Well, I think I'm going to give this 73, which I think puts it into survived category.
Yeah.
No beheadings here. And I think my favourite is one of the survivors, Anne of Cleves. Again, same as everyone else for its mad prog ramblings and zany one-take vibes. And she did actually live longer than everybody else. She outlived, I think, everybody that's featured in this album, and probably is still alive somewhere today, Anne of Cleves. So there we go.
Fantastic. I am going to give it. I loved it. Like Marcus, it was pure joy to me. Every time I listened to it, things that happened just delighted me and brought me joy. I thought it was in very good taste. I thought it was funny but not silly, and just dynamic. I love the layers. I love that kind of mini Moog gliss octave thing. It's overused, but I love it. The wow, and it's just oh. Do you ever see the Martian Chronicles, the Ray Bradbury adaptation on ITV? With Rock Hudson? No, okay, right. Cut this bit as well. So I'm going to give it 92. It's just going high, guys. This is going high. So I'm just going to do the maths. While I do the maths, Sini, it's your choice for the next our next album. Can you just explain what you're choosing, please, while I just add this all up on my phone?
So this one may be subject to veto because of the fact it does feature someone we have featured already in this, but I think
so did today's, didn't it? No, it didn't. Sorry, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. Sorry.
Nearly did.
Nearly did.
But I'm going to. But I think it definitely merits an episode anyway. We're going to have to do it sooner rather than later, or at some point. So why not get to it sooner rather than later? I'm choosing Metallica and Lou Reed's Lulu album, which is the much berated by many collaboration between Metallica and Lou Reed, and it was either a match made in heaven or in the raging fires of hell, depending on who you listen to. So that's basically whether you listen to Lars or Rick or everybody else in the world. So we'll see if popular opinion is right and it is as big of a sack of shit. I've never listened to it, so
I've never listened to it. I think we're all aware of it. I think I heard there was a single, wasn't there? Obviously, and I remember. I can't even remember what I thought of it, but it's a classic.
I mean,
UAC album, Steve. Someone was going to pick it at some point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was either going to be this or Saint Anger for Metallica, wasn't it? And I think I'm too familiar with Saint Anger, and not that I was limiting myself just to Metallica records, but I was, this Lulu was as long loomed as a sort of ghost, I think, around this podcast. I think it's just waiting to happen, this, hasn't it?
Very good. I think it's a great choice, Dean. Yeah. Fantastic. So I've done the maths, and so Ross 33, Steve 66, Marcus 85, Steenie 73, me 92 gives us a total of 69.8. So it goes to number 1.
Wow.
We have a new winner. It's
Have
not
the
that.
happy
It's not.
Mondays knocked off anyway.
Yeah, quite exactly. So, yeah, this is our new number one. Yeah.
Deservedly so. I think it's a good one.
Oh, I completely agree, but very unexpected. That's not what I thought
No,
when I chose it.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Just
just going
very,
to be kitsch
very,
nonsense. It's not. That's another thing I wanted to say. This isn't kitsch. You would think this is going to be the kitschiest fucking thing, but it's just not kitsch. It isn't. Even the major key hoedown in whatever it is, Jane Seymour. It's not kitsch. No, not Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour's the neo baroque one, isn't it? I get mixed up with all the wives.
Oh yeah,
Catherine Howard.
Catherine Howard.
Catherine Howard.
well, I'm just happy that Happy Mondays album's been knocked off the top.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
that's good.
Neither of you two were on that pod, were you?
I was.
You.
I was the only person who gave it a low score.
Well, I don't. When I'm not on here, it's because it's an album that I've only got one sentence to say about it, and you can fill in the blanks, So,
Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore, apart from mentioning it every time we have a book, because I read it. So, right, thanks everyone. That was great. Thank you, Steny, for the great choice. Looking forward to that one. Thanks everyone. Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ross.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Steny.
Cheers. Good night.
Steve.
bye.
Thanks everyone. Please like and subscribe and share and all that sort of stuff, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers and goodbye.